Good evening, everyone. I'll call this Committee of the Whole meeting to order for Tuesday, June 9th at 7 p.m. In the spirit of truth and reconciliation, we acknowledge the town of Edson is located on Treaty 6 territory, the traditional and ancestral lands of the Nahineewak, Saulteaux, Siksika, Piikani, Kainai, Dene, Nakota Sioux, and the Otipemisiwak Métis Nations. We honor the knowledge of this land, the elders and youth which gather here, and our ancestors who have gathered here for centuries. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda for the meeting? Councillor Wilson-Lair.
I move that the agenda for the June 9th, 2026 Committee of the Whole meeting be adopted as presented.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? That is carried. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes from the May 12th, 2026 meeting? Councillor Schramm.
I move that the minutes of the May 12th, 2026 Committee of the Whole meeting be adopted as presented.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? That is carried. I will move on to presentations and delegations. So our first presentation tonight is from our Edson Youth Council, who are going to provide an update on their year. So very exciting. I don't know, it doesn't say on here who is presenting from Youth Council. So if you wouldn't mind introducing yourselves when you come up and give us your presentation. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Olivia Hensley. I've been on the Edson Youth Council for 5 years. And I love the council because it brings me closer to the community and I can help out and I really love doing that.
Hi, my name is Christina Belcourt. I've been on the Youth Council for 2 years. I go to Holy Redeemer and I joined mainly just because I wanted to become more involved in my community and have an effect on my local community. And being on Youth Council just has really, helped me understand the importance of volunteering and supporting your community. Okay, so here is what we've worked on this year. So what is Youth Council and what do we do? This year marks the 8th term of the Edson Youth Council. As always, we have bridged the gap between the youth and the community by volunteering and partaking in important events. We represent the youth in the community and provide a fresh perspective on relevant issues and topics. We continue to launch projects that pertain to supporting both the youth and the community as a whole. This year, we have built on the previous year's focus on homelessness in Edson, focusing on ways we can help those in need. We recognize food insecurity as an increasingly major issue in the town. We established partnerships with organizations like the Food Bank, Wayfinding, and Reflections.
This year's focus. This year we decided on a broad focus on helping those in need. With the momentum from last year's initiatives like raising money for the Edson Food Bank, we strived for a more hands-on approach that will most directly benefit the community. We hope to use this year's successes as a foundation for future initiatives in the community.
So we had our spring barbecue this year at Reflections. We gathered over 1,000 in donations from local businesses to put on the dinner and plan to serve over 100 people in need. Excess food and money, as well as collected donations of $112 were combined with the earnings from our 50/50, and it all went to Reflections. We had about, I think, 50 to 70 people attend, maybe less, but we reached our target audience and that's all that matters.
As our largest project yet, we held our second annual free community barbecue in 2026. This is the largest event fully organized by the Youth Council this year. We got donations, organized the venue, and even cooked the food. We plan on continuing this event in future years and including Reflections in upcoming projects.
The trade show. For this year's trade show, we partnered with Reflections to host a 50/50 raffle draw. We sold 363 tickets, which provided Reflections and the winner, Stephen Domshe, with $907.50 each. Last year, our grand total for the food bank ended up being $2,710.75, more than doubling 2024's total of $1,250, which was more than double that of the year before.
Youth-friendly business survey. This year we added a focus to youth employment and promoting local businesses to our agendas. A committee of youth counselors canvassed 88 businesses and asked them to complete a survey related to employment and openness and opportunities for youth. They also created a survey for youth to complete on challenges to securing a job in Edson and hospitality from Philco businesses. The business's winner was Nico Sushi, and the youth winner of $100 in the Edson Bucks was Eva Tessier. These findings will be complied, and a report will be completed to help address and link the challenges to businesses and youth.
We always strive to be meaningfully engaged in our community. In addition to volunteering at community events, most youth counselors will volunteer around the community on their own time. Each youth counselor will do at least 16 hours of volunteering, and most will substantially surpass this quota.
Long-term care. For years, the Edson Youth Council has volunteered at the Edson Continuing Care Center. This is a great opportunity for us to engage with the seniors and connect the generational gap. Volunteering here has been a long-time favorite for many of the youth counselors because of the different themed events.
In addition to raising money for the Edson Food Bank, we volunteer regularly throughout the year to help a noble cause and give back to our community. Volunteering at the food bank allows us to be directly involved in helping those in need. Their goals have always aligned with our ideals, and we hope to continue working with them.
What does the future hold? This year is shaping up to be yet another productive and successful year, but we don't want to stop there. As part of Youth Week in May, we visited Holy Redeemer, Parkland, and Pine Grove schools to give our presentations on what Youth Council is, what we do, and how to join. With large successes like the barbecue and 50-50, we can build off of that planning and improving for next year. We have already seen exponential growth with our initiatives and hope to do more next year.
Encouragement to pursue post-secondary has always been important to the members of the Youth Council and is greatly fueled by the generous bursary of $500 per year served on Edson Youth Council. We hope to inspire future youth and extend our efforts to support and benefit the community. We want to build a future in which the youth are an active part of Edson. Thank you for your time, and are there any questions?
Thank you so much. Council, I'll open up to questions or comments. Mayor Zahara.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Fogarty and Youth Councillor Hemsley and Belcourt. You did a fantastic job presenting here this evening. You guys obviously have done a fantastic job over the last term. We do have a number of youth councillors in the gallery, and as it is the end of the term, and it is my tradition to ask this question, what has been the biggest thing you have learned or have accomplished as individually as youth counselors? I know in the past some people have said public speaking, kind of stepping out of your shell, learning about the community. So I want to hear from each one of the youth counselors, if you wouldn't mind coming to the mic, introducing yourself, telling us how many years you've been on youth council, and what you have gained the most from being on youth council this past year. Maybe we'll start with the two of you.
My name's Olivia Hemsley. I've been on youth council for 5 years, and I think my favorite part about the whole experience was definitely the empathy that I learned. I think with our unhoused dinners targeting like the unhoused population, I think I definitely learned how much more empathy people need to have towards these people, and I think that like really makes you a better person when you understand these situations that these people suffer through.
My name is Christina. I've been on youth council for 2 years, and I think the biggest thing that I've probably learned is learning how to express my opinions and like be confident in the things that I say. Yeah, it's been a really great learning experience, and I'm very proud of specifically the dinner that we have done over the past 2 years. It's been such an amazing thing to sort of just like see, I don't know, us giving back to the community and helping those in need.
Hi, my name is Brooke, and this is my first year on term, and I think I've learned of how many different opportunities there are to volunteer in this town. I didn't have any way to, I didn't know how to, and I'm great that I have opportunities to now.
Good evening, Council. My name is Maya Dollig. This is my 4th and final year on Edson Youth Council. I have become so much more involved in my community because of this council with volunteering, and I have learned so much about the operations in town of Edson, and I truly have more appreciation for the decisions that you guys make within our town. So thank you.
My name is Chloe Connolly. This is my first year on youth council, and I really like all the volunteering and helping that I've learned to do.
Hello, thank you so much for having us all here today. My name is Kaylee Strathern, and this is my second year on Youth Council. I think that one of the most important takeaways I've had from being on term for these 2 past years is really just learning how to kind of present my ideas in a way that is kind of unique to me, but also relevant to those around me. This year I started kind of inviting the Youth Council to come volunteer at the food bank pretty regularly, so twice a week we've been going there, and I feel like that was really important for me to do, and just the impact we have on the community and kind of the outreach that we wouldn't otherwise have by being on Youth Council. It's been really important, so I just thank you guys for continuing supporting the Youth Council. So thank you so much for having us. Also, don't know if I mentioned, but I'm from Parkland Composite High School.
Hello, I'm Nolan Taylor. I'm on my 3rd term of Youth Council. I'm from Holy Redeemer, and I think the biggest takeaway this year, I was a big part of the business survey, and I learned a lot about how youth get hired via businesses, and also how to go up to people that you really don't know, and these high-end business owners, and just talk to them one-on-one as they're people too, as everyone is.
Hi, my name is Callie Martin. This is my 3rd term on Youth Council. I go to Parkland and I'm in grade 11. My biggest takeaway this year has been kind of the end of my 3rd term. I've learned to take a bit more of a leadership role, and that's been really cool. I just really like learning new things, seeing behind the scenes of how municipal government works and is run, and all the job opportunities that are part of this.
Hi, I'm Lexa Neighbors. This is my 2nd term on council. I go to Parkland, and I feel like the biggest takeaway that I found this year is learning on how much of a great community we actually are, and how much time and effort it takes to build an event or a community like we have here. It's really great to be on council to learn, to get that experience of being involved in a town and volunteering.
Hello, my name is Sue. This is my 1st year in Youth Council. I think one of the biggest thing I've realized as my 1st year is how much the town is involved with the youth, and how much you guys put effort into hearing the youth voice, and I think that's really cool. I enjoy the most is volunteering. I love volunteering, and joining Youth Council has given me so much more opportunity in volunteering, and it's just it makes me happy, and it just gives me a sense of accomplishment, I guess. Thank you so much.
My name is Emily Darling. This is my 1st year on Youth Council. I'm in the 10th grade in Parkland, and most I've learned from being in Youth Council is how much the town is involved in everything that goes on within the town and community outreach, and how much you guys help with things.
Hello, my name is Cameron Coate. This is my 1st term in Youth Council. I go to Parkland. I'm in 9th grade. And the thing I've learned the most from Youth Council is probably how much I love volunteering, especially at the hospital. It's my favorite. It just makes me happy to see happy people, honestly.
They were really good answers, yes. Any other members of council want to say something before? All right, I will. That's a hard act to follow. I was lucky enough to get to work with Youth Council, Councillor Pisicini and I, and it was an absolute honor to work with all of you this year, to get to see your dedication and your hard work. And many of you come up and thanked us. You don't have to thank us. We need to thank you. You are the ones who are kind of showing the way. And we really appreciate. And just because this is your final presentation for your year, I know you're not done. Like, you're going to be volunteering at Canada Day and many other events kind of through the summer. So we really, really thank you for that. And we want to thank Mrs. Inchko, who works with you so closely as well, who definitely helps to organize and keep things going. So thank you all very, very much. Anybody else? No. You are free to stay for the evening if you'd like, but if you have other things you need to get to, feel free to go to those. Some of you have a diploma exam on Thursday, I know firsthand. So if you do feel like you can stay, but if you do feel like you have to go, that's okay. We're going to move on with the rest of our agenda. So thank you all so much. Really appreciate your time.
There is a YCE update.
There is a YCE update. Yeah. Thanks again. Good night.
You sure know how to clear out a gallery.
I do.
Is it something you said?
This is the same way at the end of every class. They pile out as fast as they can. No. We'll move on to our business items. Our GM for Infrastructure and Planning, Mr. Kitlitz, is going to present to us about the Extended Producer Responsibility Phase 2. Mr. Kitlitz.
Thank you very much, Mr. Deputy Mayor. Actually, I'm not presenting this evening. I actually have the pleasure of introducing Blair Gaulis with Circuit Materials, who's joining us virtually, and she has a brief presentation to give council an update of where we're at with EPR and the Phase 2 rollout, which is coming at the beginning of October, I believe. So, Blair, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you folks. And you're right, that's a hard act to follow. So what a impressive youth council. So you guys are doing some things really well, obviously in Edson. That was really nice to get to see. I'm a Alberta born and raised girl, Sherwood Park, outside of Edmonton. So that's pretty impressive. So tonight I have some information for you on extended producer responsibility. I want to make this a user-friendly experience. My first question to you is, would you like me to dive into the framework and the regulation itself, the basics, and then I can move into the operational components, or do you have a baseline understanding? You let me know where you want me to start, and then I won't waste your time.
Let's go with the operational components. I think that would probably be most useful for us, since we're moving into that phase in October, I believe.
Okay, fabulous. I can do that for sure. There is a presentation. I can show you a couple slides. Do you have access to it? Would you like me to screen share?
We do have access to it, but if you could screen share, that would be great so that those who are viewing at home could see it as well.
Absolutely, no problem. You'll let me know when you can see that.
We can see it now, thank you.
Okay, great. So I'm going to pass through who we are, Circular Materials and Extended Producer Responsibility, assuming that you have those that understanding. We're moving into a very provincial phase. There was 2 phases of extended producer responsibility. The first phase started in April last year. We've been contracting with Edson in terms of depot services, and now your town qualifies for curbside services. And that will start effective October 1. So I'd like to talk you through a little bit about that and a little bit about the changes that will be happening. We'll just dive through. Before I dive into your operational components, I want to show you what paper and packaging-like products include. I think it's a good learning experience. It was for me in terms of understanding the magnitude of products that are available for recycling. And I know Edson has a really good program. I know Anne Oria and the team really well. I used to work with her at the beverage container system for many years. So I know you guys are recycling well, but on the slide here, it shows you paper and fibers. It gives you an idea of how many things fall into those categories. So that's one component of what we consider PPP, because I'll say those words throughout the presentation. And then on the other slides, so there's a full page of paper products. Then on the other slides, you go into packaging. So it's plastic, styrofoams, flexible plastics, rigid plastics, and everything is considered a container or a packaging or single use. So that's how you define PPP in our world. Metal containers as well. And then the last category is glass. You'll have these lists, your community will have these lists, and we'll do lots of public education about them, but it's to give you a representative sample. When PPP and recycling services at curbside are introduced and they're done well, which takes everybody some time to learn how to do them, you can see your garbage reduced by 50%. So that's the goal for sure for us in Alberta, to be able to recycle more materials and keep things out of landfill. So in terms of where we are at with you good folks, you qualify for curbside services because you have municipal garbage collection services. And that was the only trigger. That's the only regulatory trigger. What that means is that now Circular Materials, as a producer responsibility organization, is obligated under law to provide you with free curbside services. So last year, we ran a request for proposal in the province, and for all of our new entries or where our contracts were expiring, we put them into this proposal and we said, please come to the table. And then we selected a service provider. So we now know the service provider. We haven't officially signed the dotted line, but it's a company called Integrity. And they will be providing curbside services for you free of charge. We will manage their contract directly with them. And they will give you services. Let me see if there's another page here. There you go, 360-liter cart. It's a bigger size cart, which we use because we expect them to be full every 2 weeks. We'll pick up those carts every 2 weeks, and then we will transport that material back to Edmonton, and it's to a big preconditioning facility where we will sort and recycle the material. We will also maintain your depot through the Edson services. And so that will continue to operate. The only change there, well, the only couple changes there is that everything that is taken to the depot will become what we call single stream. So everything will be commingled. There's no more sorting. We're doing sorting on the back end now, so that residents can bring everything that's PPP related, put it in a bin, and then walk away. And our processes are pretty advanced. We're putting 2 new facilities in the province. We've never seen these things before that can sort, use AI and sorting technologies, lots of different things to manage the recycling streams. And one of the benefits, and you ask, how are we actually going to produce results? Well, we're obligated under law to not just show a collection rate, and that was the old way of producing results. How much did you collect? But that didn't matter as much as how much of that was actually recycled. So under law, we are required to produce recycling rates for all of those material streams that I showed you earlier on those slides. So we will have to every year produce rates to ARMA, the regulator, and produce an evidence chain, an audited evidence chain for the province of how much is being recycled. So we're already advanced in your curbside collection. We plan to maintain and move forward with your depot. So I think it's a really quick thing. The last thing on this slide is promotion and education, which we call P&E. Circular Materials has a provincial campaign, regional campaigns, and individual campaigns, and for towns and cities and villages. And what that means is that we will make available, number one, an app to your residents to make sure that they can understand what day of the week they get services on. We will also send them printed schedules and postcards and information so they can understand what day of the week they get services on and what is actually recyclable. And we'll manage provincial campaigns to teach everybody about what goes into recycling versus what doesn't in terms of PPP. So there's a few components moving, but I'm going to pause there and open for questions.
Anyone have any questions so far? Councillor Psichny?
Yeah, through the deputy mayor to our presenter. And the question is on the, I'm curious more, and maybe you can answer it for me. Mixing all stuff together seems to be pretty easy to separate, but then my question is on how do you deal with the glass not contaminating or smashing and getting embedded in all the other stuff?
Yeah, it's actually that's a really good question. And it's a really common question because in Alberta, we were taught to sort glass and other products away from papers and fibers and things. There's a lot of different processes now. One, the first way that we're managing this is that we're not baling the materials altogether in the same way that they traditionally would have been baled, where they really break the materials apart. So we're going to compact the materials at most locations, but not bale them. And then when we remove them and we take them to, we call them preconditioning facilities. This one will be managed in Edmonton. This facility has numerous stops along the path to remove glass. So there's different ways glass falls off. It's handpicked, it's moved, it's sorted, it has different lines based on weight. And they actually sort glass into 2-inch sections. And they have about 3 different ways that it drops off the belts. They have to maintain those belts at a pretty high interval in order to not have them eaten up as well. But it's very, very manageable. And it's being done in Ontario, in Quebec, in lots of other places as well. So we anticipate actually pretty good collection rates. There's a lot of places in Alberta that currently do not collect glass at all. So we're adding that into the collection as well as flexible plastics and styrofoam and aerosols, all sorts of things all together. We think it's pretty manageable.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, through the deputy mayor to our presenter, thank you for the information so far. I know I'm excited about this program, so I don't have to have 17 bins in my garage to sort everything out, or my 17-year-old has to do that. But just question on the education campaign. Just 2 questions. One, is it the hope that you're going to be able to coordinate with our communications team so we can assist getting the messaging out there? And the second question is, when do you hope to start that messaging campaign, as the start date is October 1st?
Yeah, great questions. One, we already have a provincial campaign operating. So there are ways that we're hitting different groups based on social media and other platforms. Number 2, start of July, your residents will receive the first direct mail out. And that mail out will be a postcard because your cart community will tell them, hey, you're getting a cart, stay tuned. And this is your service provider. And part of what we're telling them is that how Circular Materials runs our contracts is that we will ask the community to directly coordinate with the contractor. So if they have issues. So this is what I'll explain in terms of community engagement. We want to be able to move this away from your community because there's dollars and labor and staff to have to do these things, but we really appreciate the support. So what we've developed are toolkits. And we've already made them available to your town staff. And we have a whole series of them. And so one, we ask on your websites that you post all the information that we need posted in terms of here's your service provider, here's Circular Materials, this is what's happening. We have a whole bunch of images and things like that. Then we're going to target your communities. You guys, Hinton is obviously along the same path. We're going to make sure that we communicate in a way that makes sense for your types of communities, campaigns. So we'll do those things. We love any collaboration because we know it's going to take a little while for people to not call the town when there's an issue. So whatever we can do to make that easier, we will. One thing that we're doing this summer, we're meeting with all of our service providers in the next 2 weeks to say, here's all the rules. We have pretty big, expansive contracts. And then we're arranging for all of your municipal staff and all of the new service or new communities getting these programs to meet directly with the service provider. So this summer we'll arrange those and then they can ask all the questions. What's the address? What happens if my cart is missed? What happens on missed collections? What happens if it needs to be repaired? What happens if there's road closures? You name it, all of the things that could affect your service. What happens when we're snowed out, we can't access, how are those arrangements going to work? And then in September, your community members are going to get a second communication. Now, here is your day of the week of collection, and here's the app. And we want you to log onto this app, and we want you to look at what's available to you. And that way we can push out when there is an issue quicker. if people use the app, but we know that not everyone does. So we will try to also make that written with schedules and other things.
Thank you. GM Kitlitz, did you want to add on to that answer?
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor. I just wanted to confirm that our communication team has access to toolkits already that Circuit Materials has provided, and they have scheduled timely posts on our social media and website to help get the message out. So I just wanted to confirm that is happening.
I'm really glad to hear that. Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Wilson-Lear.
Through the Deputy Mayor to our presenter and administration, thank you so much for this portion of your presentation. I received a late question in the day, and I thought this might be the appropriate time to ask this. And I think you've covered a lot of the education portion of how people are going to understand the process. But with the introduction of the curbside recycling beginning October 1st, will residents experience any changes to their existing garbage or green bin collection schedules? Or is the intent that those services remain unchanged with recycling being added as a new collection stream?
Yes. So it will be the second half. Because Circular Materials is not involved in organics or garbage collection, that still stays with your municipality. We do not weigh in on those scheduled days, but the one thing that we have tried to do wherever possible is use the same day, because we know we're going to get better results if a resident puts all of their products out at one. You know, how much do we all love garbage collection day and having to do it more than one day? So we're working really hard to be able to do that. I didn't check on, I'm sorry about that, but about your actual collection days and what that looks like just before we're finalizing those details. But we will get that information very soon. Actually, by maybe even by the end of this week, your municipal staff is getting a letter that confirms a lot of the details that they will need to understand going forward. So separate collection, we do our collection, but we want to make it as easy as possible.
Thank you for that. Councillor Holden.
Through the Deputy Mayor to our presenter. The Edson District and Recycling Society has done a fabulous job. They've won awards through Alberta for their recycling efforts. So my question is, I just wanted to confirm that they will still exist and have their facility. And with Circular Materials coming on board, will they require some renovations to their facility if they're just going to do a single stream recycling program? If you could answer.
Sure. In terms of, I'm confident that they will still exist, but I can't weigh in on, we are absolutely contracting with them for recycling and collection. They are your depot, and we plan to continue that on inevitably. So no different plans. But as we collect single stream, one thing that they were doing for us is that they were processing. So that means they were preparing the materials direct for selling into market based on different sorts. But now with a provincial program and scale, this is the first time this has happened in the history of Alberta. We're actually moving all the products the same direction, and we're marketing them all together. We get better rates, we have more leverage, we're doing it nationally because we're a national organization. And Canada's a very small place in the market, and this allows us to gain a little bit of momentum in terms of pricing structure and consistency. So one of the things we do not need from them is we do not need them to prepare the materials individually, and none of our communities across Alberta are selling directly to the market for us. So those parts are no longer needed, but they will have to maintain an operation or want to maintain an operation. And we will pay them for that to collect PPP materials all bundled together. And then we'll get them picked up, and then we'll move them the same direction to Edmonton to get processed. So I don't know what sort of changes exactly that means for them in terms of their operations, but that is what the contract between us and them will contain.
Thank you. GM Kitlitz, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor. I guess what I could supplement with is also the depot will still have to manage commercial recycling materials, because this does not include commercial products. So this will have work to do there. And then my understanding is they're also handling household special products under a different pro. Those are your chemicals and stuff from household chemicals. So they have that. They still have that role to play, and but so they still have a role in the community for sure.
Thank you for that. Councillor Pisichny.
Yeah, through the Deputy Mayor to the presenter. On your slides, you show mentioning our multifamily units or apartment buildings and such, do they get bins or do you only get bins where we currently have toters now? Or
No, pardon me. Yeah, they absolutely will. So in our phase 2, October 1, multifamily qualify. So we will provide multifamily dwellings. I just can't recall off the top of my head whether you were already servicing as a municipality multifamily dwellings. Can anyone confirm that with me?
GM Kitlitz?
No, we weren't. Well, sorry, they could use a depot, I believe. No, they would have commercial. Actually, you know what? I don't know. I better confirm that. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. I think they had to contract. No, they had to contract themselves. That's what it was.
Okay, so
They had to find their own.
that's perfect then. So what that means is that all they have to do, or maybe they already have, is register with Circular Materials, and then we will provide them with what we call curbside collection for multifamily dwellings. Provide a bin or carts or bags, whatever is appropriate for their building, and they will also have collection like single family dwellings free of charge.
Mayor Zahara?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Forty. And just to add on to GM Kitlitz's information there about supporting commercial, they're also, the depot still, I believe, has a contract with Yellowwood County to deal with their materials as well, because they won't be qualified under this program because they don't provide waste collection services.
Councillor Schramm?
Yeah, through the chair, it's not really a question, it's more of a overall comment. This has been long overdue and it's great to see this coming into our community. When I look at the list of the products that you're accepting, it's actually quite a bit more substantial than our current recycle depot is taking, and which is really exciting, and I think our residents are going to be very pleased with this move forward. It's just great to see this happening at this time, and it was long overdue, so thanks.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Councillor Taylor?
Through the Deputy Mayor, probably to administration on this question, just to bring up multifamily dwellings. I had this question just a few days ago for people living in mobile home parks, because currently we don't provide collection there. Is that something Circular Materials will be able to provide? Because I know, again, people in the mobile home parks were interested in the program.
Yes, it is actually. And so all we do is require if the municipality or the town was not servicing them prior to this deadline of October 1. We ask that they register with us and we will arrange for service. So it will either look like single family door-to-door collection, depending on the style of the community, or it might be a bin. And then they drop off bags full, clear bags full of their recycling, and we'll pick it up. And we want the material back. And I think this is the fundamental difference for us Albertans. Recycling has always felt good and it's the right thing and you hoped, but now we actually need to get the product back to hit something called material management requirements. And we represent producers. So we're turning that material into other products that they will then use and are mandated to use under different laws. So there is actually a really robust circular economy forming in Canada.
Thank you so much. I don't see any other questions. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I'm good. We're excited to do this and we hope we do a great job. And I expect fully to hear. We'll be engaging with your municipal staff weekly at the start and then monthly to make sure that we're doing a good job.
Thank you so much. This is an excellent program and it's going to make it so simple for our residents to take part and to recycle all these materials. So it's just going to be an excellent program. Thank you so much for your presentation. Really appreciate your time tonight. Was there anything else you needed to add in your presentation or?
No, I'm good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, folks. And you have a great rest of your meeting.
Thank you so much. It's exciting. Appreciate your time tonight.
Bye.
Excellent. We will move on to Mrs. Vicki Bird, who is our Recreation Manager, and she's going to provide us with our YCE Multiplex Project update. Welcome.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here tonight. Just wait for the presentation to come up. There it is. Great. Perfect. So for the YCE Multiplex Project update. Okay. So as you are all well aware, we are still in phase 2 of construction. And I'll just highlight a few things that have happened in the last few months. The gymnasium structural steel installation and roof decking are now complete. The conventional structural steel erection around the new arena has also been completed. The basement concrete slab has been successfully poured, and the competition pool construction is progressing well, including the concrete formwork, drainage piping installation, and slab preparation work. The exterior wall installation for the aquatic building continues to advance, and the parapet, which is the roof edge, construction and exterior envelope work are underway in key areas of the project. The mechanical and electrical rough-ins, along with interior systems installation, are progressing well across multiple zones within the construction site, and the installation of the upgraded ice plant system is ongoing throughout this off-ice season. Work on the new electrical room within the existing Olympia room is still in progress, and infrastructure upgrades and abatement activities within the existing Memorial Arena are continuing steadily. And we'll see a few photos of the items that I've talked about coming up next. Oh, and as always, you can get the most up-to-date information on our project website, which is the ycmultiplex.ca. So on the left, you see a picture of the aquatics building. So this is the installation of the exterior wall that's been happening within the last month. And as again, if you've driven by recently, they might look a little bit different because these photos are about a week and a half old. On the right-hand side, we have the competition pool. So that's that pool tank slab work being prepared. And then kind of in the foreground of the photo, you see they're about to start the excavation of the leisure pool. On the left-hand side, this is that basement pool mechanical room that I've shown a picture of quite often, but this is the concrete that has been successfully poured within that mechanical room. And this photo on the right-hand side is the gymnasium, but it's a view from the track level. So this is the decking that's been installed and been completed. So it's an interesting perspective. And then on the right here, this is the conventional steel completed for the new arena. And on the left, this is the corridor for the, oh sorry, it is mislabeled as arena stands. It's not arena stands, my mistake. This is the corridor for the dressing room, and that's the subgrade prep that's being done. But what's interesting about this perspective, and I said this in my last month's update, is this is the new being connected to the old. So it's kind of a neat perspective as well. And here are some fun photos that I thought would be great to share. These were taken from our joint council tour that we did last month. The picture on the left is depicting a face-off between the town of Edson and the Yellowhead County Councils. And this is about where center ice will be.
Mayor Zahara needs to have some.
Yes, what is not shown in this photo is that the mayor of Yellow County tried to cross-check me after the face-off, so.
No one was harmed. And then on the right, it's a group photo just taken at the gymnasium, and you can see that level of the track there as well. So it's a great view, and that's that stair core in the background that I've spoken about in previous meetings, just to give a bit of perspective. And then the project status when it comes to budget and schedule. Procurement status remains the same. Most trade packages have been awarded. There's been no impact to schedule through the procurement process. Any procurement variances are being managed within the project contingencies, and no budget increase is being requested from the project team at this stage. The schedule, as reported last month, the project critical path is still trending 3 to 4 weeks behind. The project team will continue to identify opportunities to recover lost time where possible. And as you can see, the budget on the right-hand side, the scope and the budget allotments remain the same at this time. And for risks and mitigation, there's been no new risks identified, and we're still mitigating the risks as been reported previously. And this concludes my presentation. I'm happy to take any questions that you may have.
Any questions from council? Councillor Taylor.
To the Deputy Mayor and Ms. Bird, thank you again for bringing these presentations forward. As always, I get questions from students about the project. This next question is from some older students. This coming weekend, our graduating class will be graduating, having their ceremony and the banquet. Because the multiplex is not ready, the banquet will be in Hinton. I know Parklands will be at the end of the month. I think they're pulling it in their school. So the question comes from grade 11 students looking ahead to next year. Is it possible that the multiplex will be ready for their graduation banquets in June of next year?
Thank you for the question. Through the Deputy Mayor to Councillor Taylor, it is safe to say that we should plan for the graduation events to be held at a different location. There would be too many components and variables that would all have to land perfectly in place for us to host larger events at this time next year.
Thank you. And on a personal note, damn. All right, thank you.
Sorry.
Councillor Schramm.
Yeah, through the chair to Ms. Bird. I know it's only June, and I get that. But I know hockey will be kicking in probably mid-August, and with this behind schedule a little bit, are there any concerns that the construction is going to impact getting the arena up and running for the projected hockey schools that are coming up in August?
Thank you for the question. Through the Deputy Mayor to Councillor Schramm, the critical path that's currently trending behind schedule has to do with the Aquatics Center. So this is a very complex project with different components with different critical paths. For the renovations within our building, those are still on track and on schedule. So we don't anticipate a delay for our ice season this year at this time.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I will just say for myself, it was great to, that was my first tour we had week before last. And it was nice to get in there and get to see what it's actually going to look like. I know the walkthrough is amazing, but it was kind of nice to walk through and actually imagine it all being completed. I also had the opportunity last week to have a conversation with a member of the community who was involved in the early on process applying for some of the grant funding for this. So that was kind of a nice conversation. There's so many people in our community, even who maybe aren't with the town anymore or in other aspects who were involved in helping kind of get this thing off the ground along with previous councils and administration and all of our town employees and all that. So that was really nice. So I'll thank you for your presentation. I'll ask you again to send the thanks on behalf of town council and our partners in Yellowhead County. Thanks to your employees and yourself for working in a construction zone and making it work so wonderfully so that those aspects that are still available to our community can be used fully. Thank you so much.
If I could just mention one
Sure.
more thing. Sorry, I did want to mention this. Our youth council who is here tonight is actually going on more of a virtual tour tomorrow with Clark Builders, our construction manager. Though they're not able to walk the site due to their health and safety program, we are putting together kind of a walk around the fence and then a virtual tour within our construction trailer that they'll be able to participate in as well. So just wanted to report on that as well.
Oh, that's great. That'll create some buzz amongst the youth.
Yeah.
I'm sure when they tell their friends about it. So
Thank you so much.
thank you so much. Appreciate it. Moving on, our next presentation is from our Economic Development Officer, Crystal Chachka, and she's going to talk to us about the Downtown Business Security Rebate Phase 1 program.
Okay.
Welcome.
Good evening. I just need one moment here.
Oh, you turned it off. There we go.
Sorry. Okay. All right. Good evening, Deputy Mayor and the rest of the committee. I'm here this evening to present on the Business Security Rebate Program pilot on Phase 1. So some of the background information, which may have also been provided in the briefing note, but I'll provide it here for the committee as well. So during the 2024 budget deliberations, Council directed administration to explore options to enhance safety in the Edson downtown corridor. This was a direct response to the significant increase in challenges and security issues in the downtown core over the spring and summer of 2024. Administration created the current Business Security Rebate Program pilot, and it was approved by Council in June of 2025. It was highlighted as a direct support to downtown businesses for eligible security improvements. The Business Security Rebate Program was launched in November of last year, and for the 2025 budget, Council allocated $15,000 towards Phase 1 of the pilot program. And then today, administration is seeking feedback from the committee for implementation on Phase 2. So since the program was launched in November of last year, administration has received a total of 7 applications. From November to December, there were 3 businesses that were approved, granting $3,000. And from January of this year to the beginning of June, 2 businesses were approved, granting them $2,000, and 2 businesses were denied based on not meeting the requirements in the terms of reference. So one of those businesses was ineligible as an unrelated storefront business had already submitted an application that was approved on the same legal titled parcel. And another business was ineligible due to the monthly monitoring fees that were submitted rather than a receipt of the capital cost. Some of the methods that we used to reach businesses were posting on social media 4 times, advertising in the weekly anchor on 6 different occasions. Flyers were distributed to each business on 50th Street during the Community Features Business Walks this spring. There were flyers at the trade show, and all the like brand new businesses were emailed information on that with their storefronts that opened up in 2026. And there were many verbal conversations to businesses in this area to encourage use of the program. So I've received some information on the impacts of downtown safety. As a part of the original plan was for administration to provide a report on the overall impacts on downtown safety as a part of the pilot program. So we reached out to 3 of the enforcement agencies, which included the fire department, bylaw enforcement, and RCMP for their comments on the business security rebate. All 3 agencies have observed safety and security from a holistic perspective, which includes the rollouts of the agent program, reflection service capacity since 2024, along with the security rebate program. Some of their comments include that they are not responding to overdoses or small outside fires at a frequency higher than elsewhere in town. There are currently 22 businesses with the agent program in the downtown core, and the stats for mischiefs and break-in enters are slightly decreased from 2025 to 2026. One of the challenges they mentioned were that the alleyways and areas of reduced lighting still have security issues from their perspective, and they did feel the business security rebate program is a part of a multi-pronged approach to reduce crime in the community. Administration has also received feedback from business owners in the area that have used the program, and depending on where the business is located, some are still experiencing security challenges despite using the agent program and the security rebate program. Other businesses that have installed like physical barriers, some have reported a complete elimination of break-ins since they've installed those physical barriers. And I've just got some highlights of the terms of reference. The full terms of reference was in the package, which is quite long. So this area encompassing Phase 1 includes 1st Ave to 6th Ave and 48th Street to 52nd Street. Businesses can submit their expenses dated June 2023 to the present time, and there's up to $1,000 of grants eligible per legal title parcel with a limit of 1 application per legal title parcel. They must be a storefront in that area, and they must allow for post-installation inspection by the town of Edson. It can include camera systems, exterior lighting, and physical deterrence. And a noteworthy ineligible item is the monthly monitoring fees. some of the feedback administration has received that we wanted to share with the committee if they're interested in moving forward in phase 2. Includes 2 items on the screen. The first one is from section 3, which is funding and rebate details. It currently states that 100% of the rebate of eligible costs up to $1,000 per legal titled parcel, with a limit of 1 application per legal titled parcel. And the feedback that we would provide with that is to adjust the wording to 100% of the rebate of eligible costs up to $1,000 per unit or business facade, with the limit of 1 application per business. And the rationale for this is that the current description allows for the quickest business to apply in an area that could be a mini mall with 1 parcel. So there may be like 5 businesses in that 1 parcel, but there's a new or another business that wants to apply for the program, it would make them ineligible. And the parcels aren't always, on a legal title parcels, aren't always in a straight line. And the businesses are completely unrelated to each other, although they would meet the intent of the program if they applied. And the other item is section 6 under ineligible items. And currently, monthly monitoring fees are ineligible. And the feedback would be to move that to section 5, which is eligible improvements, and add the monthly monitoring fees eligible if they have a minimum of a 3-year contract provided, and up to 25% of the value of that 3-year contract. The rationale for that is that it's common for businesses to use a service provider that installs the security systems, and they're not required to pay for that capital cost up front. The costs are hidden in their monthly service charges, as if you've used these, you're aware. And installing the cameras does meet the intent of the program. We've had the opportunity to view some of the contracts, and the business owners are required to pay for the full amount of that contract for the first 2 years, even if they end the contract early. So it's not an area that the businesses can apply for the grant, cancel the contract, and then still get the grant. They're still required to pay for those services, so they're not getting off the hook. So administration has a few options for for the committee to deliberate. The first option is the highway corridor, which is a continuation of the 2nd phase of the pilot program. Although the uptake has been a little lower than expected, administration would recommend including phase 1 in these locations. And as I mentioned, the original intent of the program was to add the highway corridor, and that would include, might be hard to see on that graphic, but it includes 42nd Street, right by the overpass, all the way to 75th Street, which would be the dealership at the west end of town, between 2nd and 4th Avenue. And the businesses must have a unit or business facade within that designated area, and it includes the business storefronts along the parallel collector roads that connect to 2nd and 4th Ave, as there's a couple locations that have collector roads in the community. And it also includes 3rd Avenue in there as well. The funding options for this could be that $15,000 was included in the 2026 budget. Any remaining funds from phase 1 could be also allocated to phase 2. And registration could open following council approval, and the program could run until the end of this year. And then following that, phase 3 would include any remaining commercial storefronts and industrial businesses pending council approval for 2027. Another option would be that council could choose to keep the program under the status quo, which is just the downtown core. And the program could run until the funds are either used or until the program runs out on June 30th. That may result in up to $10,000 returned to reserves, and the program would end under that scenario. At this time, administration would welcome the committee's questions regarding the follow-up on the pilot program and what the interest may be in the options going forward.
Any questions? Councillor Taylor.
Through the Deputy Mayor, Ms. Chachka, thank you for the presentation here and the update on the program. I know that I sort of brought this general ideas forward, and it was nice to see administration take the idea, mold it into something sort of good for our community that wraps into our strategic plan as building a safe community. I think it works, as you mentioned, in tangent with our agent program, the capture program, COP, and our CPOs and our RCMP all work together to create the great crime stats that we have in town. In terms of the options that you presented here, before I sort of make a decision, I do have a question, and that is, and I sort of posed this ahead of time, and that was regarding RCMP stats. And is there anywhere in town that sees a larger number of calls or break-ins or vandals that would require us to perhaps target that area instead of option 1, so going to an option 3? Because if there's an area in town, whether it's an industrial area or a heavy commercial area that sees a lot more calls, I think it would make more sense to sort of target the program there and see if we can assist those businesses in upgrading security systems and creating physical barriers so they feel safe. Wonder if you had any stats on that or update on that.
GM Hawken.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. To Councillor Taylor. So the RCMP does their stats based on streets and avenues, so not based on specific areas, which then would target specific businesses. So based on the stats, 1 through 6th Ave are the worst, and 50th Street. So 1 through 6th Ave essentially is the highway corridor, but they don't target specific areas on the corridor. However, Staff Sergeant Jalal did say that hotels come to mind due to overnight parked vehicles. He thinks that those are easy targets. However, they don't have actual data to support that. The data is based on the crimes between 1 through 6th Ave and 50th Street.
Thank you, GM Hawken. Mayor Zahara wanted to supplement as well, if he could.
Thank you. Not to speak on behalf of the RCMP, but through my role as Citizens on Patrol, I can tell council that it ebbs and flows along the highway corridor. So sometimes it's more on the eastern side, sometimes it's on the western side. That's where we target our patrols, depending on what's going on that specific month. But definitely, almost every time that we do get told of where to be, it's highway corridor. It all depends, but I can say sometimes it's on the east end, sometimes it's downtown, sometimes it's on the west end, and that ebbs and flows throughout the year.
Thank you. Councillor Taylor, you had a follow-up?
Yeah, and through the Deputy Mayor, based on your answer, GM Hawken and Mayor Zahara's response, I'm fully supportive then of option 1. It seems that the stats sort of lean that way as it is anyways, so that seems to be the next area that we can target and to assist those businesses in creating and hopefully updating their security programs. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Wilson-Lair.
Through the Deputy Mayor to Economic Development Officer Kachka, I have a few comments. I want to thank administration for bringing this program forward and for the work undertaken to promote it throughout the designated areas in the community. I feel that while uptake was lower than originally anticipated, I do not necessarily view that that's a reason to discontinue the program. What stands out to me is that the businesses that did participate reported positive outcomes, including improved security measures and in some cases the elimination of break-ins through the installation of deterrents. Our information from the RCMP also indicates through file scoring that they have observed a slight decrease in mischief and break-and-enter occurrences, and this program forms part of a broader coordinated approach to community safety. I also appreciate that administration has identified potential improvements to the terms of reference based on feedback from the businesses. And in addition to that, and then this is important to me, I see a lot of value in considering the highway corridor as part of a future phase. Businesses located along our highway corridors often have security systems that capture vehicle activity entering and leaving the community. And that comes from my experience with the RCMP as well. While the primary purpose of the program is to improve business security, that additional camera coverage could also provide valuable information to assist RCMP investigations involving property crime, stolen vehicles, and many other potential public safety matters. For those reasons, I'm supportive of continuing the program and exploring a measured expansion while continuing to evaluate participation outcomes and overall value to both the business and the community. And I thank you for allowing me to make these comments and to have the opportunity to point out my thoughts on the expansion to the highway corridors for the benefit of those businesses and the community as a whole. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Holden.
Through the Deputy Mayor to Ms. Chuchka and the rest of council, a couple of comments. Section 3, that change going to one application per business. We have several buildings in the downtown area and throughout the town with more than one business on their legal titles. 4 or 5 right on Main Street come to mind. Section 6 is the cost for a 2-year contract. I'm just concerned that it could be far above your $1,000 expectation for business of the original phase 1. So that's kind of a question, but first and foremost, I wanted to make this. Option 1, the highway corridor, it has been absolutely beat upon the desk while I'm at chamber meetings by members, businesses that are located on that corridor, that they, in some cases, think that they've been slighted by this initial phase, but I told them that it was a phase-out program and that they have been asking for this there. Some of those are hotels, some of those are restaurants, some of those are just a retail business on the highway corridor, and I think that we would be remiss if we didn't expand it to that program carrying forward. Back to the Section 6 comment, just concerned that a 3-year contract for monitoring, monthly monitoring, if we are going to provide funding for up to 25% of a 3-year contract, that could be excessive. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Through the Deputy Mayor to Councillor Holden, thank you for the question and comments. So with the wording in the terms of reference, if the 25% was beyond $1,000, they would still only be eligible for up to $1,000. So if the more cameras they have, then the higher dollar value of that contract, but it would still max out at $1,000. Yeah.
Councillor Schramm.
Yeah, through the chair to administration. And again, when I take a look at the options, I think option 1 does make a lot of sense, incorporating the 2nd and 4th Ave corridor. There are a lot of businesses there, and again, to add that into the program makes a lot of sense to me. I'm going to kind of touch base on what Councillor Holden had mentioned about the monthly monitoring fees. I'm just, I know the original intent was for capital. I get a little concerned when we start adding monitoring fees, because then where do you stop? If his capital is only at 800, does he get 200 additional for monitoring fees? It's just kind of something that I'm not overly comfortable with, but and again, thanks for the option. I do understand the dynamic where some people do get their equipment for free and then the monitoring fees pick that up, but I am just concerned about the monitoring fee section. But other than that, I think the 2nd and 4th Ave makes a lot of sense. Extending it out to the end of 2026, and that makes a lot of sense. If the funds are there, we should definitely carry on with that program.
Thank you, Mayor Zahara.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Fogarty, and thank you, Ms. Chachka, for the update. Definitely in support of option 1. There's, like I said earlier, a lot of criminal activity that occurs, and I think Council Wilson-Laird did point out that there's some overall community safety aspects as well. For example, if there's a missing person or that sort of thing, and there's or an Amber Alert, maybe some of those cameras would pick up the vehicle associated. Working on businesses along the highway, I know the RCMP do ask for footage on a regular basis to see if a certain vehicle has driven by. So I'm certainly in support of option 1, and with the changes that you have made there, understanding that there are some smaller businesses that are getting their equipment for free. They only have the 1 camera, and it's paid monthly through the monitoring. I think that is gives more flexibility for some of those smaller businesses that may not have closed systems, and they're using different monitoring programs. And I just want to reiterate as well, I think one of the really good things about this program is that we're encouraging those businesses also to register with the RCMP capture program, which makes things a lot easier for our officers to identify where those cameras are in case they do have something happen in one of those areas. They know exactly where those cameras are and who they need to contact. So thank you for this.
So I'll just add my own thoughts. Again, I like option one as well. I did have a concern about the monthly monitoring fees, but as long as it was worded to say that up to a maximum of $1,000, I think that works fine. I'm good with that. Uptake maybe was a little less, but I think by expanding it, we could see a lot more. And I mean, if all the funds were used and there's a need and a want for it, then maybe we need to investigate adding more if we get enough businesses who really want this. I think it's a great program for those businesses, and hopefully we'll see a lot more uptake if we do decide to expand the highway corridor. GM Hawken, did you want to add to that?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, just on the funding piece, this is something I'm looking for council's feedback, because we have 10,000 right now left over from phase 1, and there was 15,000 put in the 2026 budget for phase 2. So currently there's a pot of money of 25,000 for this program, and I want to know if council would like to carry forward the phase 1 into that pot of 15, or just use the 15 that was allocated, and that 10,000 would go back into reserves.
Does anyone have any thoughts on that before I take other questions? Councillor Pisichny?
Yeah, through Deputy Mayor to GM Hawkins. I think you should, if we haven't spent the money and we're expanding it to a far greater area, I would think we should move the money over, and then would we have 10,000 left? Is that correct? Yeah, I think so you'd have a 26,000. Because if you get a big uptake along the highway corridor, it'd be nice to be able to help more people out with it. Move it over.
I'm going to agree with Councillor Pisichny on that. Move it over and make that opportunity for our businesses. Councillor Taylor.
Through the Deputy Mayor, Jim Hawkins, I move it over as well. Make it more accessible. We've budgeted for it. So, and I just want to touch base on the monthly monitoring system. And of course, this is sort of the next phase. And if there's issues, and some councillors have sort of concerns, we'll find out in this next phase, and we'll have another, because it runs to the end of this year. We'll perhaps get another report if there's issues and we need to revamp the program again. But I echo what Mayor Zahara said. Some businesses, this is what they can afford, is the monthly monitoring system, and we want to ensure that they can access this program too, and they feel safe as well.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Thank you so much for the presentation. Appreciate your time. With that, we have no closed meeting session items, so I will adjourn this meeting at 8:12. Have a good night, everybody.